everyone, this is Dr. Victoria Skirbo speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today I did a card reading on Rod Rosenstein. It was my third card reading on Rod Rosenstein. And I find him kind of an intriguing character. He has a very interesting astrological chart. We do not have a time of birth, however, and so we don't have an accurate representation of his chart. But within his chart, he does have some very interesting things going on. And what we can do, though, is we can get a pretty accurate representation of him through numerology and Kabbalah, which is what I'm going to do today. And today is actually the 11th of May, and is his official day where he retires from the Department of Justice. So he was born in January 13th of 1965. That was the same year, I believe, that Judge Brett Kavanaugh was born in 1965 as well. And they were friends. And he is a Republican, of course. And so let's take a look at Rod, because there has been this sense, at least in my card readings, and then also personally, I have a sense that he has, that he was sort of a straight arrow kind of guy, somebody who was committed to the rule of law, or so we thought. And almost everything that he's done up to these last couple of times that I've heard him say things, he seems to be, that assessment hasn't necessarily been incorrect. So I thought I would look at his chart, and then I thought I would look at the numbers, the numbers that he's that were at influence at certain times in his career. Now, he has been. He's only been Assistant Attorney General for, I think it's 2.5 years now. And I'm sure it was the most active 2.5 years of his life, as it were. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's look at Rod. His full name is Rod J. Rosenstein. Again, he was born the 1st of January 13th, 1965. He was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so he's an East Coast boy. He actually went to Wharton, which may be one of the reasons why Trump nominated him, because that's his alma mater. I don't know that for a fact, but it just sort of, that's the kind of thing I would think he would pick somebody for. Anything that reflects something about him. And his... Okay, so that's his date of birth. So we'll look at his soul vibration. And yes, my little squirrel friend is, this is his most active time of day. And so he's doing the Mama's a Tree thing right now. So you might see him in and out. And if I giggle for no reason, it's because he's tickling me. Okay. So his soul vibration, if we take the vowels in his name, and we remember each time I do this, I say your soul vibration is your inner self. It's the inner feminine side. Feminine in that it's more internally oriented. The feminine or the yin energy is much more sort of inwardly facing. And the outwardly facing energy is the quiescent or the outer personality, which we get from adding up the consonants. Your name is the vibration that you come in on, and so it's what you're good at. It's what you need to be in good relationship with, and so it's very much sort of your little like Felix bag of tricks. This you have, but you still need to take care with it. Okay, it's not something that you can take for granted. It's something that you have to continuously work upon and work with. It's like really working with your own nature. And so if you're true to who you are, if you're true to your nature, then you do better. So if we take his vowels in his name, it actually vibrates to a 32 over 5 vibration. So he has a soul vibration of 32/5. What's significant about that is 32/5 is the life lesson of the United States. Okay? And so this is very connected to the United States and all those things that mean something to somebody who's from the United States. Freedom is one of the things that is very important. And so the other thing about this is that the shadow of the United States of America is also a 32/5. And so with that 32/5 vibration, we can see the best and the worst of that 32/5 within America herself. Freedom based on responsibility, or it can sometimes be, because it's a Leo vibration, it can sometimes be childish, churlish, freedom. As long as you're free, you don't care what you're doing to other people. That could be a negative expression of that vibration. So it's just something to be aware of. But I'm not saying that that's Rod Rosenstein. I'm saying that that's the vibration as it occurs in America. And I think that I will do a more specific reading on the United States of America, especially as we face the upcoming 2020 election and the upcoming Pluto return for the United States. All really important things in our future. Okay, so that 32/5 is a soul vibration. This is somebody who likes to have freedom, but it's generally freedom based on responsibility. True freedom comes from first being responsible for your actions, being more self-reliant, building the foundations that you can support your need to be free. 5 is also the number of change, and so there is a part of him, despite the fact that he has a grand trine in Earth in his chart, he does need a certain amount of change in his life in order for him to feel happy and satisfied. Now, his outer personality vibration is a 44/8 vibration. And the 8 vibration is somebody who's very good at managing people. It's also a 44. So 44 is considered by some a master number. And 4 is the number of crisis. So we have the number of crisis, and then 8 being how to work through crisis. The idea of as you sow, so shall you reap comes with the 8 vibration. The 44/8 vibration is associated with Hesed on the Tree of Life and the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is often associated with law, and so people who have this vibrations in Hesed oftentimes are connected to the law, and of course we know that he is a lawyer because he is the deputy, or was the deputy attorney general. The 8 vibration, the 44/8 specifically, is a water vibration. The 32/5 is a fire vibration, and so within that, within his vibrations of his name, he has both fire and water, and that's usually indicative of some sort of spiritual initiation throughout your life. Now, because the soul is 32 and America is 32, and the shadow of America is 32, he is connected karmically to America in that respect, both for the best parts of it and perhaps for the worst parts of it. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's a possibility. If we add both numbers together, we get a 76/4 expression vibration. And that's actually a Virgo vibration. And it's associated with, on the Tree of Life, a place called Hod, which is associated with the planet Mercury. And of course, Mercury is the way that we think. And this is somebody who's very, very intelligent. This guy is a smart guy. We also have a 4 here, and the 4 is the number of crisis. And so he has to, in his life, use his analytical ability, Virgo, and Mercury, to work through different crises. Okay, that's something that is not it is something that he possesses, but it's also something that um, he has to work within his life so that he can have balance between his inner and outer self. Um, he's having that five soul. You can be pretty funny, but I think he might keep that more to himself because it is the inner feminine vibration. Now sometimes men aren't aware of their inner feminine vibration. It kind of depends on how balanced they are in their male and female. But most men, I think, well, I shouldn't make these suppositions, but a lot of men are more aware of their feminine side. He is a Pluto and Virgo generation, just like everybody born pretty much in the 60s, or everyone born in the 60s. So he has a little bit more awareness than, say, the previous generation, the Pluto and Leos, and more awareness than the generation before that, the Pluto and Cancers. We see more of that unknowing of that feminine side with those other generations than with Pluto and Virgo. And then when we get to the next generation, Pluto and Libra, Libra's all about balance, so they're usually pretty balanced in the male and female side, or at least they're attempting to become balanced in that. Okay, so so that's what he possesses. Okay, now his life lesson, what he's come in to learn, we add his birthday, and his birthday, if we add January 13th, 1965 altogether, we get a 35/8 vibration. And the 35/8 vibration, of course, is 8. So it's about karma. Okay, it's about as you sow, so shall you reap. It's a Sagittarius vibration. Sagittarius is actually the sign of his, I believe, his south node. The south node of his moon is in Sagittarius. 35/8 is located on the Tree of Life in a place called Yesod. And I'm going to pull this over a little bit so you can see the Tree of Life. So we have his soul here in Tiphereth. Tiphereth is associated with the sun. He has the sun in Capricorn, but it's associated with the heart chakra. Okay? And so he needs to be a heart-centered person. Okay? Freedom is very, very precious to him. Okay, 32/5. I don't know, you can't really see me, but I don't think you really have to see me. You want to listen to me more, right? His quiescent is up here in Hesed. That's the blue circle, the one associated with Jupiter, located in the throat chakra. Okay? And then his expression here, which is the balance between the inner and outer self, is in Hod, located in the solar plexus. And so this really is about crisis, and then taking the action, the personal willful action, to mitigate that crisis through things like discernment. Okay, because it's Virgo, discern. So this is somebody who has had to be very discerning through his whole life in order for him to have balance. The 35/8 is much more of a learning curve for him. And the interesting thing about the 35/8 is it is a fire vibration, 35/8. It's a Sagittarius vibration. But Yesod in itself is associated with the moon, and the moon is your feeling nature. Now, we're not really sure what his moon is in. He either has a Taurus moon, or he has a Gemini moon, and we're not really sure. It's possible that he has a Gemini moon, for a number of reasons, because he can seem to be a bit changeable. He seems to have this duality. Initially, I didn't think that, but now, as he's retired, and his last bit at the Yale law club, or whatever kind of club it was, where he was dissing. Well, he was pretty much taking the Trump party line, saying all the things that Trump had said, which seems a little bit out of character in my estimation, considering the things that he actually did for the Mueller investigation to start it and get it going and keep it moving and go after, Michael Cohen. I mean, that's all pretty, if you don't mind me using the word, ballsy in a way, but then that's also what he was supposed to do. And this really seems to be somebody who would go by the book. Okay. So But that 35/8 vibration is located in the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is a water place. It's a place of emotion. 35/8 can be somebody who's very angry. There can be a lot of anger. And I believe he does have something in his chart that indicates, I think he has, it might be it's something to Mars. Something is, and I apologize for not having his chart up. I don't have the technology to have his chart up and to do this while I'm talking to you. So I apologize for that. But he does have some Mars. He has something with Mars in his chart for sure. Oh, he actually, now that I'm thinking about it, he has Pluto conjunct Mars in a new phase conjunction. And that can at sometimes be quite, it can be quite an angry combination. Especially when it's frustrated. Okay, so there's that. And then the last thing I want to talk about for his numbers is his shadow vibration. And your shadow is sort of your weak spot. It's what you've come in to heal. So it's your biggest issue, really. And when you're challenged the way he's been challenged, this is sort of shows, I think this shows the either the depth of the wound sometimes, or whether the person is really trying to heal it by how they react in situations that might bring the wound up. And his wound is associated with Gabura on the Tree of Life. Gabura is associated with the planet Mars. He has Mars in Virgo conjunct Pluto. His shadow is a 31/4. It's the 5 of Wands. What's interesting is I just did a reading on him with his cards, and the first card to come up, because I asked about now that he was retiring, the first card to come up was the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Wands is it can be anger, upsetment, but Gabura as an energy is the place of instant karma. And so you don't really get away with anything in Gabura. But this is his wound, so he may or may not realize that. He has, he has 8s in his chart. He has 4s in his chart. He should know this. And I feel on a certain level that he does know this. So it's a little confusing to me. This whole last bit that he went with the taking this Trump, taking the side of Trump, and they had a little like thing for him, and they were like sort of making fun of the Mueller report. I don't know if that was something that he had to do or he felt he had to do, but it just seems very out of character with this whole chart. So he is at this point. Let's see, 2019 he turned 54, and so he is. This is age 54 right here. So he's starting this line right here. This is an 18/9 vibration. 18/9 is associated with Pisces. And Pisces is a karmic sign. Pisces and Virgo are quite karmic. And this is about paying through relationships. So over the next 9 years, he is going to, I think he's going to have a couple of come back to Jesus moments. Now, I realize that he's probably Jewish. Come back to Moses moments. I don't know, but he's going to have to like really look at himself deeply. Now, that being said, I'm not assuming that he has. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that somebody with this chart would actually, if they were to do the party line as he has done, I think it would have been for good reason. And I'm going to want to talk about that a little bit. I don't want to keep you too long with this. I want to be as clear as I can be. I feel I'm rambling a little, and so I apologize for that. The shadow, the 31/4, is located in his throat chakra. And so if he does lie, he's going to be held accountable for that lie. It is fire, so it's more, and it's Mars, so it's more about it's coming from a more intuitive place. Fire is more an intuitive place. And it's possible that his intuition concerning this matter, or his intuition, is a little bit off. Okay? So, but he makes his choices, and he does his okay, this is, I have to make a thing here. This is his, sorry, I knew that didn't look right. His path of life is at 35/8. I put his shadow in there, and that's wrong. Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. So let's look at some of the numbers associated with what happened. When he was nominated, and then, so he was nominated to be the Deputy AG on the 1st of February 2017. On that day, the day vibrated to a 13/4, which is the death card, which is about change. So something about his nomination is going to create some sort of change. He was actually approved, he was confirmed by the Senate on the 25th of April 2017. That vibrated to a 39/3. That is the Knight of Cups. And so that's the energy of somebody on a mission, somebody with the highest of ideals and intentions. That vibration is. Okay. Now, when he was nominated, he was actually in a 24/6 vibration personal year. And 6 is about responsibility. The 24/6 is associated with the planet, with the sign of Leo. And it's the Queen of Wands. Okay, that's the vibration, the 24/6 vibration. And it is in Bina on the Tree of Life. And Bina is the place of the divine feminine. But Bina is also the place of suffering. And it's through suffering that you find your inner light. So he walked into this situation, getting nominated. And I'm sure on a certain level, it was a great honor for him. Like, who wouldn't want to be nominated? You work, and you're like almost at the very, very top. And I think the Deputy Attorney General is less of a political position than the Attorney General. And so this is somebody who has worked for years within the system, right? Okay. And so he was nominated and confirmed in a 24/6 year in a 17/8 vibration sub-period for him, which is associated with star card. So this is an aspiration. So this was sort of an aspiration. But the 8 vibrates to his path of life 8 and his quiescent 8. So this is about responsibility and karma, okay? But it is associated with the star card. And so this would be an inspirational time for him. When he appointed Mueller, he was actually in a 14/5 sub-period of his 6 vibration years, 24/6 year. 14/5 is spiritual initiation, and it's also a testing time. It is when you are tested. And it's associated with the temperance card. So it's a tempering process, which is not all that pleasant, because you are getting exposed to extremes, and it's through the exposure to extremes where you have to sort of keep your balance and strengthen your resolve. Okay, so that was interesting. So in 2018, he was in a 7 vibration, a 25/7 vibration. And the 7 is about self-analysis. It's about knowing self. The 25/7 is located in the heart. So this is about knowing your heart. But there's also there can be a chaotic energy to this vibration. And so it's really about finding your center through the chaos, 25/7. And in 2018, he was in that vibration all year. Now, in the first sub-period of that year, he approved the FBI to go to Cohen's office and get all his information. And that was really the beginning of the end, so to speak, for Trump as far as the legal stuff, right? And so he was in a 10-1 vibration that year. 10-1 is the Wheel of Fortune. And so these are all, like, he did these things at very significant times in his chart. His fate changed when he did that. Okay. So he was in the second sub-period. There was an attempted impeachment. I think it was by Nunes in the House to impeach Rod Rosenstein, and it didn't work. And he was in a 15-6 vibration, which is the Devil card, and so this is the pressure, right? This is the pressure of the dark, sort of the dark side on him. He survived that, and he had his meeting with Trump. That meeting where everybody thought he was going to get fired, except like me and couple of astrologers and a couple of other readers that said no, he's going to stay. But like we said that, but you know, the outside world's like, oh no, he's done for. Well, he wasn't. He actually stayed. I think he made some sort of agreement at that time. But I really feel like at that time he was protecting the Mueller investigation. I think ultimately the information that's coming out with the Mueller investigation is, as we say, a roadmap for us to follow the breadcrumbs that have been left. Without him being there to protect that, we wouldn't have had that. And so even though he's talking about how he's doing the Trump line now, he still did the things that were necessary at the time. That's what it feels like. Okay. And then, let's see, what else do I have here? So in that meeting with Trump, he was in a 7 vibration. The 7 vibration is the Chariot card. And so this is, and to a certain extent, it's movement. There can be some victory here. Okay, it could have been his victory, could have been Trump's victory, I don't know. And then in 2019, he moves into a 26/8 vibration, which is Malkuth. Malkuth is the physical plane. It's the kingdom. It's the root. It's the survival chakra. Okay, it's the root chakra. And so the 8 vibrates to the 8 of his life lesson and the 8 of his expression, the 44/8, which you can't see, I realize. And so this again is, we have 8s lining up, karma, karma, karma. It's almost as if this stuff was, like, we know to a certain extent that Trump is here for the reason that he is, but I also believe Rod Rosenstein is there for the reason that he is or was or may continue to be. So let me bring up this whole idea. Now he's retiring today. So officially retiring today. So we have 5/11/2019. So that's a 17 and that's a 16, sorry. 16 and a 12. So he's actually retiring on a 28/1 vibration. So this is a whole new, sort of a whole new path for him, this retirement thing, which kind of makes sense, right? But what's interesting is that he is in a 26/8 period, but the sub-period that he's in right now, which is when he made this speech to Yale about how, the whole Trump line, right? Like, all of a sudden he's like a Trumpster and agreeing with all the Trump people. He's in a 12/3 vibration, which is the Neptune vibration. And 12/3 is the Hanged Man. And when you're in the Hanged Man year, and we're all in the Hanged Man year in 2019, so we can appreciate this, it's really about seeing what you can change and changing it, and accepting what you can't change. So there's, to a certain extent, a resignation around something that there really is. Your hands are tied behind your back, and you're hanging upside down. so I think that, and then of course Neptune is always connected with some sort of a sense of illusion or delusion. And so I think that, some people say that he sold out, but I don't believe that he sold out. Maybe he sold out so he could have some peace in his life now, in that respect, and he's saying these things. But eventually, with this type of chart, the actions do have consequence, and we probably won't know until we go further down the line and see what happens with Rob Rosenstein, and how the rest of his life sort of susses out, if we even see it. I mean, he may be, he could be a private citizen, and and spend the next number of years figuring out what the F just happened. But I do think he's going to come back. I think he's going to have a rest, and then I think he is going to come back into some sort of service, maybe when he's around 63, because he goes onto a different line. He goes onto the 15-6 vibration, which is the Capricorn vibration. And so I think I'm going to stop there. Hopefully you got something out of this. I feel a little scattered through this whole process, so I apologize if it was more scattered than usual. But I think there is some good information here. So I think the bottom line with Rod Rosenstein is that I really think that he did the best job that he could do under the pressure that was given him. And, there is this point, I think, where we can judge all we want and we can say all we want, but unless we're put in the situation with the pressures that guy was under, I don't think we can truly appreciate that. And, ultimately it's between him and his own heart. And if he can sleep at night, then who are we to say? But everybody plays their part. So I'm not saying, oh, it doesn't matter what he did. It does. It matters. It's going to matter to him. It matters to us. But I think that considering, except for this last little bit, I feel like he's done what he could given the situations that he was in. And this is somebody who's smart. This is somebody who's willing to work hard. This is somebody who, I don't know, who seems to be an upright guy. I know I said that. I've always felt that way about him. So a lot of people can disagree with me, I'm sure, but that's what I see here. Okay, well, like and subscribe if you would like something like this done for you. I do this for people who aren't, famous. Or if you're famous, I won't do it on, won't do it in front of people. If you're famous and you want it done, I do it for famous people too. All right, well, like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this. See you again soon. Bye.